Hey everyone, it has been a while. I have some traditions over Halloween. I will probably put in some photos. I've already shared a bunch on Instagram at Maritime Foam. Follow me there if you want, if you'd like to. I would like it if you did. Yeah, I have a tradition with my daughter. She picks a theme. I build us costumes, and yeah, they get more and more elaborate. So it's a thing I enjoy, but I can only do so many hobby things. So that's what I've been doing in most of October. But now that that's done and we're into November, I have a bunch of builds I want to do. And before I do that, I actually recently ran a Nerf party for some 10-year-olds. And I feel like when I started out, I was a little bit judgy of Nerf's 70 feet per second par, but boy, I feel like I get it more now. You know, Nerf is one thing for someone like me or you or hobbyists where we want them performing more and more, hitting harder and harder, modifying, putting in new springs. But with that comes that trade-off for how hard it is to prime. And also, I also love about Nerf that it's all of these Rube Goldberg machines of like how to prime them, and they're so complicated. But then you go to a Nerf party and you have a bunch of kids who maybe have never had many or any, and you just end up, I see why a lot of people who do parties have a whole bunch of 1 or 2 blasters and that's it. I always fall into the trap of I want people to have a bit of variety. You know, I want it to feel special. I don't want it to feel like a kid is coming and playing with something that he maybe got for Christmas 3 years ago at home. But anyway, talking about parties and loadouts, that's a whole different thing. I wanted to focus on the Villainator because in my Nerf party loadout, I like the idea of having a drum-fed higher capacity blaster, you know, having a couple of them. The very first party that I did, I got a couple of these Shockwaves thrifted, and boy, I'm glad I got them thrifted because Elite 2.0 is not a good time. The drum rotates a different way than every other drum magazine I have, of course. 1 second. Oh boy. I'll take some shots the other way. I'm not going to get into why this blaster is terrible. It really is. God. I have a huge pop-up pod, and I missed it with a few shots from this, and it's 15 feet away from me. This blaster is awful. It is a little bit better with Elites. I am using Adventure Force waffles that I mostly use for parties, so things are consistent. Anyway, it's awful for many reasons. It's hard to mod, but let's take modding away for right now. And just talk about kind of the blaster, putting it into a kid's hands. Can you have fun with it at a party? This one is so inaccurate, I would almost say no. I stopped using it at parties. Yeah, well, I mean, one thing I will say for it, it's easy to prime, I guess, but bad blaster. And then I also have one of these. This is an Adventure Force, I don't know the name of it. Superdrum? Is this a Superdrum? I thought that this thing looked kind of cool. It feels a little bit cheaper than a lot of Nerf. But you know what? This thing works really well. It's accurate. It's easy to prime. It's actually hitting the standard Nerf numbers. It has good capacity. This is a neat blaster. I look back and I don't know why I didn't get a couple more of these. I am going to get another one. These are going to become my party kit drum blasters. I'm not going to get too specific. I more want to talk about why my opinion has changed on the Villainator. This blaster is fairly well reviewed and liked. I ordered it. I have an Adventure Force Dart Zone Spectrum, which is a great little flywheeler. Love it. It's getting, it gets pretty good high 90s numbers for a stock flywheeler. For kids, it's awesome. I find Nerf brand flywheelers are they're just a hair too underperforming to to be very fun, in my personal opinion. They don't need to be, they don't need to be screaming at 150 feet per second, but I wish they were in that, 80s, high 90s consistently, especially if you fire, if you fire 4 or 5 in a row from a hyperfire, they're just coming out by the end. Anyway, we're not talking about flywheelers. We're talking about drum-fed things. So the Villainator, I got this. I was pretty excited about it when I got it. It hits pretty hard. It has a pretty stiff prime on it, but the handle's really nice. I was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to get a couple of these, and this is going to be my new Nerf Party blaster, to have that kind of drum-fed one. And I found a couple things. The first thing, not really the fault of the blaster, but as much as, we get amped up about performance, kids, especially that 10, 11, 12, I don't know what age it says on the box. I should know. Is it 14 plus like Rival? The kids had a hard time. They ended up jamming this a lot more than either of those other two. They just wouldn't quite get it ready, and they ended up jamming a bunch of them in the barrel. Another thing that happens with this, and I'll try to get a close-up shot after, in case I forget. I'll show you this now. Because this does hit hard, and there is quite a thump when the spring hits, I have found that as you're firing, the vibration when that plunger hit, sometimes it was making, another dart that was maybe a little looser because maybe it was a slightly older dart. It was moving that out a bit, causing it to not be seated firmly, which made it lose power, which meant sometimes it just misfired. So you end up getting this like gap-toothed thing eventually. And that's even with the good Villainator. Mostly with kids using it for whatever reason. So, maybe they're running around and holding it down a little too far sometimes too. But that was definitely another check mark against it for parties. So this one as it is, while I would stop taking it to parties just because the smaller kids find it just a little hard to prime, and I did have a few feed issues, it's not really the fault of the blaster. I still would, keep it as kind of a main one for me. The problem is, I've bought 3 of these now, and 2 of them I've had, well, I haven't returned the second one yet, but one of them I returned. I thought it was just a one-off and defective, and my replacement for that other one, it has this issue that seems to be common where, there we go. It's there must be a lock in here. I'm going to take it apart and I'm not going to return another one. I'm going to see if I can figure out what it is. I'm assuming there's some sort of lock in here that's keeping it, but it basically, you fire off a shot and it gets stuck. This has happened at 2 or 3 parties that I've had, and I think it's just kind of a fluke, and I get back to it and try it again and it happens again. So yeah, and looking online, it's funny, I've seen people having this problem in some review threads kind of on Walmart or other places like that, but not really a whole lot from the Nerf community on this issue. There's not, I need to do maybe a deeper dive into modding this and see what people are doing, but kind of disappointing. I wouldn't recommend someone get this unless they were in a modding. I wouldn't buy it for, I wouldn't buy one just to have, or I would buy one just to have. I have 2, but if I wasn't as intently into it as I am, I wouldn't. It's not dependable. 2 out of 3 that I bought did this, and if anyone out there is like, oh, there's a real simple solution for that, please tell me. I have no problem with being wrong. I will recant everything that I've said. Sometimes, pushing forward all the way, I thought maybe it was kind of an issue like the Zesty, where it had to be held forward to prime it, but that doesn't work either. See if I can get this guy. I can't even. No. I have managed to get it loosened again to fire. I mean, I did fire it once for you guys. But it almost seems to be getting harder to disengage it as time goes on. Like I said, I'll take it apart and we'll see what's what. But I don't know. I would give it, if it was a one-off, but 2 out of 3, that's weird. That's not good. So yeah, not really a full Villainator review. There are plenty of Villainator reviews who've gone way more into depth about the feet per second and the ergonomics and ergonomics are good. I mean, it's a fun, you know, it's like a cool Tommy gun. Wouldn't it be cool if it was automatic? Oh, weird. Stuck again. I don't even know why I was able to prime it that time. So anyway, I will take it apart. I will update, if not in a video, maybe I'll update on my Instagram if I was able to fix that or discover what it was. In the meantime, I will be getting another one of these. And this one will go in my kit of kid-friendly, pretty easy to prime blasters. I worry a little bit about, I mean, I might take these little plastic things off, but good solid blaster. All right, 8 rounds from the Superdrum. Let's go. All right, Superdrum. You need to change from the top to the bottom row. Switch. All right, Shockwave. The first 4, I'm going to fire Elites. It does work a little better with Elites, so I'll be fair. I'll fire what it came with for 4. See that last one? I feel like the first 2 actually were better than normal, but their range is bad, trust me. Another 4 with waffles. Some sort of double load there. Hold on, I'll do a couple more. So on top of this thing not performing well, it's also all solvent welded together. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad. I don't know. You know what? For all the things I've said, maybe this will go back in my party toolkit. Working Villainator. I mean, the nice thing about the Villainator is the top and bottom row, there's a little, you know, smart air restrictor that moves back and forth, unlike the Superdrum where you actually have to manually toggle it. So it's kind of cool that it just goes up and down. That's why the barrel is a little bit wider. You can kind of see down there. It fires from the top one and the bottom one and switches back and forth. So that's kind of neat. Anyway, the working Villainator. It's good. It's really good if it works. And this is my other Villainator. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's another one. Wow, so I'm getting stuck and I'm like, I'm like wiggling the, you can kind of see. I don't know, it's not working again. Anyway, I mean, that's not acceptable, right? So yeah, that's 2 out of the 3 of these that I've had are like this. Bad batch number? Maybe. In the end, I guess what I'm saying is Villainator, Nerf Elite 2.0, crappy. Adventure Force Superdrum, good. I don't have, before the Shockwave, the other Nerf pump drum thing. I don't remember its name. I think it's pretty good. I gotta get one. There's not many I don't have, but I don't have that one. Anyway, I hope you get something out of this. If you're looking for a blaster like this for kids or for parties, I recommend something like this. It's really, really good. If you are a grown-up and you're looking for a Villainator, it's a good blaster. It's just there's a really good chance you might get a lemon. And if it's for kids, there's a really good chance they're going to struggle to prime it if they're wee. So, I don't know. I'll leave you with that. Yeah, not really a review. I'll call it a review, because I like those likes. But it's more of a comparison thing, I guess. I just want people to know what I know. Bye.